Good evening, this is BelGeode and we are back once more with Microsoft Flight Simulator X Steam Edition. Woohoo! So we're here in an undisclosed location, and the first thing you'll notice is this giant behemoth on the back of the Nimitz. This is the CH-53A Sea Stallion used by the United States Marine Corps post-Vietnam War. It is, in fact, one of my absolute favorite helicopters of all time. As a matter of fact, for this little flight that I'm doing today, we're going to get to see three of my all-time favorite helicopters. So this one is a Sea Stallion, which is related to the Helo that the Air Force uses and the Jolly Green that the Army used in Vietnam. And of course also the Super Stallion, which superseded this particular model. Big difference between the Stallion and the Super Stallion. Super Stallion's got 3 engines. If you look on the left side, you'll see there's only one there. Alright, so we're on a Nimitz, and for our little scenario, we're going to be transporting supplies from one ship to another. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that in a moment here, but first I'm showing off the exterior. Might as well go ahead and close up the ramp while we're at it. There we go. We are all buttoned up. Okay, so here's where we're going. If you look directly behind the refueler to the right of the Nimitz, you will see the Bonhomme Richard, that helicopter landing ship that we used on the one episode with the F-35 Bravo. That's where we're going. So, everything is looking pretty good. We're just going to kind of back up a little bit to the rear of the deck, and then that way we can take off and haul ass over to that side. And I'll show you a little bit of the flying characteristics of this bird and share with you some of the information I know about it. Alright, everything's ready. Our little dude's been holding his hands in that position for the longest time. He wants us to get off this deck. We're ready when you are, buddy. Alright, let's go ahead and push back. That's what I love doing in a helicopter, is manually pushing back here. Cool beans. Give a little bit of leeway. I don't want to like run into any guys or any cargo on the way back here. Alright, this should be good right here. Go to the overhead view. One thing I will say, a lot of the views that you're looking at here, I had to modify. This, all 3 of these aircraft that we're going to be flying today are made by Virtavia. They are payware, but some of the camera angles are not perfect. So in typical me fashion, I had to add certain camera angles, such as this right side angle that we're looking at right now. I should put the gear up, however, we're really only going down the street, so to speak. Right there, that's where we're going, so it's not even worth it putting the gear up. Not for such a short hop. Alright, so let's go ahead and head over there. Okay, so some quick facts about the Sea Stallion. It first got into service in 1966. I told you that it's related to other variants like the HH-53, the Super Jolly Green Giant. That one was used extensively in Vietnam, mostly to rescue like downed pilots and stuff like that, but occasionally to insert troops. That model eventually became the Helo, which the Air Force uses for like Black Ops and stuff like that. The Sea Stallion variety has been flying with the Marines for like the longest time, and of course that eventually became the Super Sea Stallion, which is the version with the 3 engines. They use this primarily for troop transport. They can hold like 38 to about 55 troops in here, or 24 stretchers if they're going to use it as like a medevac chopper. And as far as the speed and so on and so forth, the average cruise speed of this behemoth is about 150 knots. Maximum speed, about 170 knots. So it's not going to be winning any races, but it certainly has a lot of carrying power. Alright, so there we have the Bonhomme Richard straight ahead. And we're going to go and see if we can bring Big Bertha down here. Part of the reason why I chose this among other helicopters to do today is when I used to play the game Second Life, this is how I made my money in the game, was I made replica representations of this helicopter and the Chinook, which we're going to be flying a little bit later, and I actually sold those suckers to aviation buffs in-game in Second Life and made some real-life money from it. So I'm kind of partial to these. And there's a Harrier landing, look at that. There's also a Sea Knight on the deck. Sea Knight is the little brother to the Chinook. Let's just see if we have anybody else coming in. No, looks like this is all the traffic that we're dealing with. Okay, so we're a little bit low. I'm going to pull up just a touch here. And I need to rotate us around. I love that I added all these extra camera angles in here, because when you get this thing stock from PC Aviator or whichever other website is selling Virtavia's products, there's really not that many views to it. I hate when developers do that. Give me some varieties, give me some options, use your brain and, you know, think what would be an excellent camera angle that people would want to see. Alright, here we go. Let's try not to slam her down on the deck. There we go. That's as ginger as this one's gonna get. Okay, let me go ahead and line up now that my parking spot is open here. We'll hang out here for a little while as they load and unload. Now, I haven't really thought that deep into the story yet. I'll let you in on a little secret, guys. We're actually on Lake Michigan. Don't ask me why an aircraft carrier and a Helo carrier would be on Lake Michigan doing replenishment. I have no idea. Just roll with it. Alright, but we are, however, going to open up the back. There we go. That is a camera view that I added. And there's also a camera view for the front, since the doors in the front open up as well. Didn't take too much to add that in there. They could have had that in the default helicopter. Of course, the way that they modeled this thing was a little bit odd too, but we'll get into that another time. So as you can see, it is 15 minutes later, and our cargo that we're taking to the Nimitz has been loaded. So we'll go ahead and lock the clamshell doors. Well, technically that would just be a ramp. Russians have the clamshell doors. And let's go ahead and get out of here. I love how these guys just look so bored on the Bonhomme Richard. It's like, we don't get that many planes coming in. Okay, we'll swing out to the left here. We're probably going to go behind the Nimitz and then pull up onto the deck. Here we've got a cruiser out here. Now when we get back to the Nimitz, after we're done offloading, I'm going to switch to the second helicopter in this little three-part extravaganza here. Alright, so there is the Nimitz. I might add that this thing's got a range of about 540 nautical miles. It's got a lot of gas in there, but it can only fly as high as 16,750 feet, which is not a whole hell of a lot. Not that it really matters, because honestly, if I'm in a Helo, I would rather be down in the weeds with my hair on fire. Or in this case, getting ready to go for a swim. Okay, now comes the fun part. And I say the fun part because even though the carriers are not moving, yeah, bringing this sucker down just in the right spot on the deck so I don't hit any people or cargo pallets is going to get interesting. And there's just no way in hell that I'm going to even attempt to land on a Patushent, which is the oiler to the right of the Nimitz. I think that's how you pronounce it, right? Patushent? It actually looks like Patuxent. It's one of those weird words. Okay, we are just about lined up. I'm using the meatball as my guide here. You can tell that I'm used to flying fighter planes onto the carrier because I'm checking the meatball to see how high or low I am at this point. Alright, I'm going to swing us over to the right a little bit. Start pushing us forward. Okay, we're looking good, we're looking good. So yeah, this Helo, it's been taken out of service for a lot of branches. It was retired in 2012. Obviously, the Marines went with the Super Stallion. That replaced this particular one. There are still some countries in the world that use this sucker. Whoa, I'm drifting all over the place here. And I'm getting a little bit low. Okay, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to back off just a touch. Gain a little bit of altitude. Look at the little signal guy down there. He's like, are you landing or what, man? My hands are getting tired. Safety officers are none too pleased either. Alright, this looks like as good as it's going to get. Let's go ahead and bring Bertha home. There we go. That was a little rough, but I'm sure she'll forgive me. Alright, perfect. That works. So yeah, there's still a whole bunch of countries that still use this aircraft, and I'm very glad to see that because it is such a beautiful bird. Alright, so now that we are down, let's go ahead and get our cargo offloaded. Hopefully we didn't dent anything. They did have insurance on that, right? And we'll open up the side doors as well. So there we go. That is the CH-53 Alpha Sea Stallion. One of my all-time favorite helicopters. Next, we're going to take a look at my other all-time favorite helicopter, which is going to be the CH-47D Chinook of Army fame. So, hang out, don't go anywhere, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I get to show off the darling of the skies, the queen of the Army's helicopter fleet, the Boeing Vertol CH-47 Delta Chinook, my all-time favorite helicopter in military service. This one is the most well-known as far as the tandem rotor helos go, and Virtavia did do this one justice. There's a hell of a lot better views in here. You can see all the controls look weathered. Everything is pretty sweet. Most of it is all clickable. There's even a rear view mirror that will actually show you what's going on in the back, which I thought was a nice touch. And we're going to take a look at the co-pilot seat in a moment here. There we go. You'll notice that in these helicopters the pilot sits on the right side and co-pilot sits on the left. In some helicopters, most notably the Russian ones, it's just the opposite. And look, we got a couple of G.I. Joes in the back here. We got Tyrone and Fred just kind of chilling back there because the cargo that we are carrying is going to be extra special, so we needed armed guard. Don't ask me what we're carrying, I can't tell you. I'd have to kill you. It's the Black Ops, man. But let's go ahead and close the side door. There we go. And you do not want to mess with us because we're packing heat. So you better back off. Alright, Tyrone, Fred, hang tight back there, guys. I'm going to go ahead and close the ramp and we'll get out of here. Ah, I love that. That is like the most awesome thing this Helo is when that ramp goes up. Fred doesn't seem impressed, though. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let's see what that looks like from the outside here. Ah, that is so sweet. Tyrone's like, what the fuck? Dude, man, close the door, man. Yo, dog, close the door. Fred's like, dude, can you, like, close the door, please? Thank you. Okay, so we got some external views here. I love the little bubble windows that the Chinook has. That's definitely a trademark for the Chinook. Here you can see the ones on the starboard side. And this one, the cabin's going to be a little bit noisier than the Sea Stallion because, of course, as you can see, we've got a rotor right above us here. Okay, so we're looking good. No time like the present. We'll get the brakes off. And we'll back up a touch here. Give myself a little bit of a wiggle room. You'll notice that the GPS has a direct path to KUGN. That will be Waukegan, Illinois. That's our destination. Don't ask me why we're going to Waukegan. This is a hush-hush mission. Can't tell you much about it. But we're going to go ahead and back up here. And we'll give it a little bit of collective. Not too much collective is needed, because this bird will just launch itself right in the air. Look at that. Look at that. It's highly doubtful that these suckers actually landed on the Nimitz in the past. Maybe they have, maybe they haven't. Maybe it was a top secret mission, who knows. But for the purposes of our little episode here today, we made that happen. Alright, so we're going to need to swing out to the left here. Everything about this bird is just so beautiful. It first went into service in 1962, and it's been flying on active duty ever since, making it one of the longest lasting helicopters out there. Alright, I think we need to trim a little bit to the left here. There we go. Yeah, so this sucker's been used during the Vietnam War, the tail end of the Vietnam War. It's been used in Iran, it's been used in the Falklands War, Afghanistan and the Iraq Wars, of course Desert Storm and the Iraq War after that. It's just been everywhere. This thing's got more frequent flyer miles than any other helicopter to date. It's insane. Not to mention civilian versions have been used by like British Airways and stuff like that. And like I said earlier, this is one of the helicopters that I used to make in Second Life. Love the hell out of this one. Absolutely beautiful bird. I tried to get it as close as I could, considering the fact that Second Life is hardly a flight simulator. But I thought I did pretty good. So we can hold 33 to 55 troops, pretty much the same as the Sea Stallion. We can carry a little bit more cargo though, about 28,000 pounds compared to the Sea Stallion's cargo limit, which I'll look that up in a second. And we've got the two engines in here giving us a max speed of 170 knots. Our cruise speed is a little bit slower than the Sea Stallion. It's 130 knots. You could push it up to 150, but this thing will overspeed pretty fast, so you may notice that pop up in the lower right corner here. Our range is about 400 nautical miles, 450 with the extra drop tanks. And our service ceiling is 18,500 feet. You don't want to get too much higher than that. So here, we'll give you an idea. See that? Look at that. I'm just about at 150, and already I'm getting the overspeed warning. So yeah, this thing is kind of like a school bus. It's not meant to be, you know, put in the air races by any stretch of the imagination, but it can definitely carry a lot of stuff. This sucker can carry tanks slung underneath, for example, and you can even drive vehicles into the back of this thing. Just kind of park them there, chain them down, of course. So yeah, you can carry a lot of good stuff with this. And what did I say was the amount that you could carry with Sea Stallion? 8,000 pounds. Yeah, that's the useful load of the Sea Stallion, is 8,000 pounds. So as you can see, this sucker can carry a hell of a lot more than that bird. And they're both pretty big behemoths. Those two Helos were in competition for the longest time. But eventually they found their own niches. As you can see, this one serves well with the US Army, and then the Sea Stallion was primarily the Air Force and the Marines that ended up using variants of those. So each bird got like its own audience and has managed to live on. Alright, and you may notice I opened up the back door for the guys. Oftentimes they will fly like this. Cool beans. So we're closing in on the shore of Illinois here, and Waukegan is directly ahead. And as you can see, some kind of fog or haze has started rolling in. This is pretty much true to life. There's always some kind of fog or haze around the Chicago region. So I'm not too surprised that they mimicked this in this game. But it's going to make finding the airport and landing kind of tricky. Good thing I got the GPS, huh? And we also have the option of staying really low to the ground, because as you can see, the higher up I get, the more obscured everything is. So we're going to want to stay close to the deck here. I don't mind a little pink tinge to everything. That actually looks kind of beautiful. Okay, and we are closer. Should be a straight shot to the airport, just over some residential neighborhoods. They're probably going to be like, uh-oh, what's going on over there? Army's flying in choppers. That can't be good. Must be martial law or something. Nope, nope, just a Black Ops mission that we can't talk to you about. Special delivery, you know, we had to have armed guard here. And that's one of the things that I love about this helicopter, is the fact that you can have like basically your own armed escort within. You saw the gun sticking out the left window there, the port side window, and of course with Fred and Tyrone in the back, nobody would dare try anything with this Helo. They've made these things into gunships before in wartime. I believe the tail end of Vietnam in particular, they had like a ton of weapons just sticking out of this thing. So it was like a flying Spanish galleon. You know, it's one of them weird things there. Alright, we're crossing the shoreline now. You may notice the textures are slightly different this time around. I've been upgrading some of my textures. I'm actually using a couple of things from Orbix that I purchased. Well, one I purchased and one was a free thing. So yeah, we're going to be seeing, or we're going to start to see some more Orbix type sceneries coming in there. As I have more money, I'm probably going to invest in more stuff, but I tried to get a lot of the free stuff that I could so far, and then made whatever purchases I needed to make to upgrade some of like the default trees and stuff like that. So yeah, good deal. Thank you, Orbix. Okay, so there's the airport, dead ahead. And our radar altimeter is telling me we're at about 350 feet above ground level. So we're probably going to want to come down a little bit here. Wow, it's a lot of haze. It's ridiculous. And I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. I'm sniffling and slightly wheezy. It's been like this in real life for like the last few days here over this Labor Day weekend. Happy Labor Day to you all, by the way. So yeah, this humidity and everything has really been affecting me. So I'm surprised I'm even talking on this video, to be honest with you. But they say the show must go on, so I, as a master of show business, am going to stick to that credo. I'm also going to turn myself a little bit to the left towards the airport because I want to land pretty close to the terminal. Assuming there is a terminal at Waukegan. Probably should have gotten an upgraded scenery for this. So yeah, even though there's new doohickeys and doodads for the scenery here to make everything look crisper, you can't really see it because of all of this haze. But we'll be down momentarily, and then we're going to switch to the last of the 3 helos that I plan on showing off today. So far, this one is definitely my favorite for multiple reasons, but as far as the model itself that Virtavia has come up with, this one is a lot easier to fly, for me at least, than the Super Stallion. The Super Stallion had some yaw issues, but I think that's because it's got a tail rotor. I expect the next helicopter that we do should have a similar effect, but because of the 2 tandem rotors, this feels a lot more stable. It's still like flying a school bus around, but at least it feels more stable. It's a stable school bus. Alright, speaking of which, we got to bring this bird in. I need to lose some forward airspeed though. Right about there should do the trick. Pitch the nose up slightly. And I need some collective because I don't want to land on the grass. Look at that rotor downwash. That is so sweet. I love that stuff. The Sea Stallion excels at that. That rotor downwash is like a hurricane force wind there. But the Chinook is no slouch when it comes to blowing air all over the place. Okay, this looks like my parking spot right here, so let me pitch up and bring her down. Whoa, okay, a little bumpy. Got to work on that landing. I'll have plenty of time to play around with these ones. Alright, I'm going to rotate us around and actually find a parking spot here. This looks like a good place. Yeah, let's just rotate around right here, and that should do the trick. Then we can get our special cargo offloaded. Brakes! Okay, so there you go. That is the CH-47, the Boeing Vertol CH-47 Chinook. Venerable Chinook. Tyrone, Fred, you guys can take it from here. Take care of the cargo, and I will catch you all another time. Go ahead and open the side door since everything is secure. Alright, good deal, good deal. So I'm going to take another little bit of a break. For you, it will not seem like a break, but say goodbye to the CH-47 Chinook. When I come back, we're going to be flying the 3rd and final Virtavia Helo that I'm flying today, the SH-3 Sea King, which is a legend amongst the aircraft carriers. So catch you in a minute. And we are back. And some might say that I saved the best for last. This is the SH-3 Sea King, otherwise known as the movie star of all the heavy lift helicopters. This one served proudly with the U.S. Navy and with many other branches around the world. This is the helo that has been seen in the movies at least twice. For example, you've seen this helicopter in Top Gun. This is what pulled Goose and Maverick out of the water. You've also seen this helicopter in The Final Countdown, where it had a little bit more prominent role that ended with a bang. And as you can see, everything looks old and weathered, even the co-pilot station here. I haven't figured out how to turn on that little radar screen. I don't know if it's operable. I didn't check that. But now this view right here makes the whole thing worthwhile. This is the winch operator view. You can see a spot for the navigator back there. You can see like a couch, a bed, a few chairs. This is pretty much what the interior of the Sea King looks like. They have one at the Pensacola Naval Air Museum. And that is like my favorite spot. If I'm going to hang out in a helicopter and not fly it, that's where I want to hang out, is right there. Okay, now another claim to fame, you'll notice those three icons underneath the pilot there. Those represent Apollo spacecraft, because this Helo was called upon to pluck those guys out of the water after they've come back from their lunar missions and so on. So let's go ahead and button up. We're going to head back out to the carrier, so let's close the side door. We do have retractable gear, so as soon as I take off, we'll be retracting that. And let's add a little bit of collective, push the cyclic forward, see if we can get this bird off the ground. So pretty much we're going to backtrack our path, so the little white line that you see moving off to the right on the GPS there, that's us. There we go, nice smooth liftoff. Landing might be a trick. This one has a hell of a lot more torque than the other Helos that we've seen today. So I'm going to have to be really, really careful when it comes to side stick inputs here, or rudder inputs. Alright, this looks like a good place. I've got the gear up, so we're good to go. And let's start getting some forward speed while I turn us on course. I think I remember seeing that, whatever that is, refinery or power plant or something off to the right side there, so I'm going to kind of aim a little bit towards that. And that'll be our path out. So yeah, the SH3. Definitely one of the most unique birds, and also one of the most famous. You have seen this sucker in green and white on the lawn of the White House. Yes, that's right, folks. This is the version of aircraft that's used by the United States Marine Corps as Marine One whenever they need to transport the president anywhere. This is the Helo that will do it. Except he's got a little bit swankier setup than what we've got in the back there. Now, another thing that they used to do with this thing is they used to drop dipping sonars into the water. They'd hover in a spot, use the winch, and drop this sonar into the water to try and track Russian nuclear submarines. So it was used for anti-submarine warfare. Now, I don't know how much of the time they actually split between search and rescue, which was a major component of this helicopter, and the anti-submarine warfare. Really couldn't tell you how much of a ratio there was on that, but suffice to say, whatever role they put the Sea King in, it excelled at. So yeah, it's definitely a darling of the Navy. Now, it was eventually replaced by the SH-60 Seahawk, but in my opinion, that's kind of a downgrade. Because look at the shape of this sucker. You can just tell this thing is designed to float on water. Look at the hull. You see how it camps down in the center there? This thing's designed to be a flying boat, basically. Whereas this SH-60, which succeeded it, is not. That sucker will not float. As I'm sure you will have seen if you caught my episode with the hurricane and all that, where Allie and I rescued some people at sea off the coast of Texas there. That's what they were in, was an SH-60, and that sucker sank. If they'd have had this thing, they might have been rescuing us. But yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite Helos, even though it is a little squirrely to operate because it's the standard Sikorsky main rotor, tail rotor, and it's not as forward-thinking as like the Boeing Vertol Chinook was. It's still such a sweet, sweet bird to fly, even though it's heavy as hell. So some stats on this one. First off, this particular Helo went into service in 1961, so they're all around the same time frame, you'll notice. Now, it remained in Navy service till about 2006, when it was then replaced by the SH-60, as I said before. It still sees service with other countries' navies, and of course it still serves as Marine One. And basically this thing can carry about 4 people, 2 pilots, 2 anti-submarine warfare systems operators, plus 3 passengers, as you've seen in the back there, including the winch operator. Maximum speed about 166 miles per hour. Range is about 621 nautical miles, so it's a little bit further out than the other 2 Helos that we were flying with. Service ceiling of 14,700 feet, so a little bit lower than others, but you figure this thing's going to be flying off of the aircraft carrier and is planning on going very far. One really cool thing about this helo is that it also had the capability to carry the B-57 nuclear depth charge. So let's say we're going hunting for Red October here, and you happen to find them, drop that sucker in the water, and run like hell. Of course, the jury's still out on whether or not they actually had to use this in the past. Alright, so we're getting close to the ship, so I'm going to go ahead and open that side door because I really am loving this view. And I'm thinking I might need to use this view to help me land a little bit here, because that's the one common theme with all these cockpits. There's not a whole hell of a lot of visibility down below you. So you got to kind of rely on your backdoor guys there to point you in the correct direction. But needless to say, you can see the Nimitz straight ahead, and at least there's no fog over Lake Michigan, so we're pretty good there. We're going to bring this sucker in and see what we can do about setting her down on the forward part of the deck. I don't want to land in the back like I did with the Sea Stallion. Alright. This should be good. So yeah, 2 of my 3 favorite helos are from Sikorsky, and the other one is from Boeing Vertol. I don't know, there's just something about those big, beefy birds that I just love. I guess I like my helicopters like I like my women. Very curvy and got some meat on their bones. That's one way of putting it, I guess. Alright, now comes the fun part, landing this sucker. The Chinook was probably the easiest to land. The Sea Stallion, I'd say about second best to land. This sucker, on the other hand, this is going to get fun. I don't need the GPS, which is why I got rid of it. I know where I'm going now. So all I need to do is bring this sucker down. From my understanding, this helicopter has been sold around the world. So it's still in use by many countries, as I said before. Brazil, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom. And it's also seen use as like a firefighting helicopter. Similar to the Sea Stallion as well. I know that Sea Stallions are used as firefighters as well, so you just can't kill these things. It's like there will always be a use for this helicopter. Okay, so here we go. We're coming up on a Nimitz, and I'm coming in way too fast, so let's see if we can bleed off some of this airspeed here. This one might not be as pretty as the other 2 landings here. Okay, we're going to slide up a beam here. And I actually have not been using my face track no IR, so that's why you notice that my head is not moving all over the place here. I'm trying to see if I can eyeball this sucker here. Bring her down. Oh wow, I didn't realize we were that far back. Holy hell, well, I need to push forward here. And we're drifting. There is wind on the lake, so yes, we are drifting a little too far to the left. Here's how we compensate for that. Go, good deal. Oh hell, this might be easy. All I need to do is just bring her down right there. Oh, come on, baby, move forward. Just a little forward. Oh, too low, too low, too low. Okay, let's back off. Alright, you know what? Screw this. Why am I fighting from the cockpit when I've got a perfectly good winch operator at the side of this helo who can guide me in? Give me 1 second, folks. I'm going to switch views. There we go, as I'm like flying all over the sky here. This is a much better view to try and land this bird. Alright, now I could in theory land on that elevator there, but I actually don't want to land all that far back. I kind of want to be on the forward part of the ship. So we're going to slide to the right. Get past this safety officer here and a CAD officer. And we're going to come down right on the landing pad here. Holy crap, that was noisy. But hey, we're down. Okay, well, she looks no worse for wear, so I'm going to assume everything is okay. And I'm probably going to need to taxi off this little runway here. So, let's go ahead and push her forward. And I'm thinking we're going to be on the starboard side of the ship here. I'm just going to turn around any old place, as long as there's no people in the way. It's not like I'm taxiing a Tomcat around the deck here. though there have been many Tomcat pilots' lives who have been saved by this helo. Get a chance, watch Top Gun again. You'll see this helicopter in action, and I would highly recommend the Final Countdown. You definitely see a lot of this helo in there, and you'll see one of the reasons why I really enjoy this and the other two helos that I featured tonight from Virtavia. And remember, that is payware. Okay, so this is our final parking spot, so I'm going to go ahead and open up. We'll also kill the lights. And I will also kill the rotor blades. Or technically that would be the engine. Alrighty folks, so thank you for joining me on this little 3 helicopter tour of Lake Michigan here in our little top secret mission. I will be back with some more FSX, so for now I want to thank you all for watching. Happy Labor Day to those of you who celebrate it. And as always, ciao!